Hi, I'm Bran, and I love spooky Christmas movies.
I'm Dan, and I despise spooky Christmas movies.
I'm Alonso, and ich liebe spooky Christmas movies, and this
It's the Deck the Hallmark
Podcast.
Podcast. Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Alonso, we've done it.
Oh,
You stay out of this.
another year in the
Alonso,
books.
you stay out
Why
of it.
am I staying out of
Alonso,
this?
we've done it. We've made it. It's finally here, the week of Christmas.
But while
Hot
I also
chaw.
have done it, I've done it too.
Yeah, but you don't appreciate it like Alonso and I do. Alonso, we've done it.
What
It's
you're
it's
saying
happening.
is I'm not in
It's
the
our-
cool Christmas club.
You're not in the cool Christmas club. I know that
Wow.
hurts you to your core.
Well, it goes against everything you believe in about Christmas clubs and Christmas, but that's fine.
I'd
Leave
love
me
for you
out.
to be in it, but
Leave
you,
me
you
out.
bring
No,
the, you
well,
bring
I'm
the
here.
vibe.
I'm
You
trying.
bring it
I said I
down.
did it too.
you've made it a point to exclude yourself from St.
Oh, how
Daniel,
dare
so you
you. How
can't you
dare
can't
you.
come
Okay,
running around
let me
now
ask
trying
you
to be
this.
all in.
Do you think Christmas movies starting this weekend's too early?
Yeah. But am I still
I mean,
gonna?
what are we to do with that, Alonso? We did
Out.
it, Alonso.
Out.
We made it. Woo!
I'm being excluded by Brandon Gray and Alonso Duralde, and I just want that on the record.
Well,
I'm here for it. I'm here.
Are
Let's
you?
do this
You
thing.
had ample opportunity, and
Yeah,
you
you're not here
rejected it
according-
at every turn.
according to
So
Philo,
don't
according
come
to-
crying now.
That's right. According to
Brian,
Philo.tv/GTH,
Alonso-
you're not here. It's just me. It's just me and
Alonso
Alonso.
said, "Eek Liebes spooky Christmas movies." And
Yeah.
Eek is a dear friend of yours.
Yes.
Do you any words for Eek from you? Or?
Well, Eek is shy. Eek is shy and doesn't want to get into it today,
Yeah.
but appreciates the shout out nonetheless, for
Right.
sure. Yeah. Alonso, you're coming into town this weekend, which is really exciting. It's how we're going to kick off the holiday season with our marathon on Friday. How are you preparing? I know that this is going to be your fourth, I believe.
Yes,
Your
fourth one.
fourth
marathon.
marathon.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
How are you? How is preparation for this one differing?
Preparation.
Your preparation. How does your preparation for this one differ from 4 years prior?
Well, I mean, this year we have a kitchen.
Yeah,
So,
it's big.
you know,
What
I
do you
think
got
there's
planned for that catching? What
there-
can you tease?
there's going to be some baking, maybe even
Maybe
baking
even-
something that's featured in our book, I'll Be Home for Christmas
Maybe
movies.
even save the town brownies.
Maybe even.
Gosh, if you
Are
don't
they-
tease me with a good time.
Are you going to make them special brownies?
Maybe,
I don't know what the current laws are for South Carolina, so
maybe even
It's-
not illegal to possess, but illegal to buy and distribute.
If you enter the state with it, there's nothing they can do. I don't know.
maybe I need to shop for very expensive butter. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
Love
gosh. Deckthehallmark.com/marathon this
Yeah.
Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until ? It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Hey,
It's
with
gonna
only
be a lot
one movie on Saturday, reasonably speaking, under 30 hours, which is very exciting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
And you get
quick sprint.
You
And you
get
get
a
a
4.5
nap.
block where you don't have to. You can be off camera and in your bed. Like it's pretty much easy at this point. You know.
some are saying we've made it too easy.
Some are saying. Many are saying.
Many are saying we've made it too easy and people are leaving early.
Well,
So-
the first two I did were not overnighters.
Oh, you did
That's
the
right.
6 a.m. boys.
Yeah.
right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So
La-
this will
last year-
be
Last
last
your
year
first one.
was
The first
yeah,
overnight one.
Last year was the first lock in, but
Yeah.
I think this one, I think the house is big and luxurious. It's going to be great.
Having done 2 overnight ones and 3 6 a.m. ones, I feel like the overnight ones, there's something special about just the marathon of it all, just the actual getting through it. The 6 a.m. ones just felt like a long day, like you just had a long work day.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think there's something about like those conversations that happen at 3 a.m. Like who's up in our place, who's up online
Yeah.
watching, you know,
Oh, what a
it's
time
a
to be
whole
alive.
And
thing.
a lot
yeah.
of people think that we've added more people to the Deck the Hallmark family because we want to like offer more voices, differing opinions.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with that. This is purely strategic
It's
on
just so
our
we can
part,
sleep some during the
so
marathon.
that we could sleep a little bit during the overnight marathons.
Shifts.
That first one was tough.
The
That
first
first
one
one
was-
was
I
tough.
gotta be
It was
honest.
just me, you, Panda,
Yeah,
nowhere to hide.
That was 2019. I was 36 years old. I don't think at 41 I could do it. I honestly, I went home and was just, it was like I'd been hit by a bus. That was brutal. That was a really tough.
And you guys were unplugging the mics with your roller chairs. It was a whole thing.
Oh,
it was
every
a
time we
whole
got up.
experience, I think.
then-
That was wild.
2020, I remember Jingle Bell. The first two movies were Jingle Bell Bride, Christmas on Honeysuckle Lane, because you joined us. And that Christmas on Honeysuckle Lane one, I just remember thinking, I'm so tired. But you joined us via California, so you were more with it than we
No,
were.
no, no,
No, he was
I
in
was in
North Carolina.
Virginia.
Oh,
no.
Virginia,
I was
that's
in
right.
You were in
Virginia for a film
Virginia, so that's
festival.
right.
Yeah.
You just stayed up to do it. That's right.
I
Yeah.
remember we did some trivia, Christmas trivia with you at one point.
Yeah, that was
Yep.
fun.
It was a lot of fun. We learned a lot.
Hey, I'll be bringing it this weekend. I just got a whole new book of Christmas movie trivia that is coming out this month from our friends at Hachette, and I think it's going to give us some fun games to play.
Did you get a preview of this book?
They sent me an advance copy. Actually, Dave, you want to hand it to me? The Christmas, please.
Dave said no. I love it.
No, and I think Dave's right here.
The Christmas movie Ultimate Trivia Book,
Wow.
which is,
I mean, come
if
on.
it's not already out, it's out real soon, and from Epic Inc.
Epic.
from Neil E. Fisher. So I think we'll definitely be tossing
Shout
some of
out.
these around.
May
I
even have a
love that.
card game to play, Brian.
Maybe we'll have a hot card game to play more on that soon.
Yep. No. Can't talk
Shall
about
we
it yet.
talk?
And I think I need a rematch of Hallmark Channel trivia or Hallmark Channel Monopoly, since I was
Well, you were
trouncing
losing.
you guys
I
when
was-
the
I was
thing
about
ended.
to round
you
the
know.
corner to
There's
where everybody
really
else.
no way
There's
to
no way to
prove.
tell. There's
There's
no
no
way.
way for you to prove
What you're
that.
saying now is anyone with less money than you in real life should quit. That's what you're saying right now, Alonso.
I'm just saying that's what the rules of the game say. Like, I didn't invent
I
this.
still think one of my favorite things ever is socialist Alonso Duralde being cutthroat at Monopoly. It's like,
Well, that and the idea that Hallmark Channel has a monopoly
Yeah.
tie-in, so you win by being the villain in a Hallmark
Talk
movie
about
and
saying the
buying up
quiet
the
stuff out
bookstore
loud.
and the coffee shop. You know,
talk about saying the quiet stuff out loud. Hallmark releasing a Monopoly board. That is. Oh, man.
think it through, you guys. And yet, where is my Hallmark mystery clue? Like, that just seems to me they're leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
They
Stinks.
sure are. They sure are. Speaking of leaving money on the table, if you haven't already gotten Philo, you are leaving money on the table.
Ooh,
because
tis the
time.
season.
Bang for buck. This is the time to do it.
4 days away, you're going to want that DVR unlimited space.
Because
Keep it-
listen,
I mean, come on.
Oh, we've been in your shoes. We're in your shoes. We got to watch all these movies, and it's hard.
Yep.
It's hard to do it all in real time. The DVR comes in clutch, and once they're saved to the DVR, it'll stay there. You don't have to get rid of it to get other stuff on there. It's unlimited, and you get the one button ad skip all holiday season long. So
Yeah. I mean, look, both Hallmark channels, but, okay, not counting family, but, the main Hallmark and mystery are about to go 24/7, which means if there's like some gems from previous years that you want to
Christmas
hang on to,
card.
you want a Christmas card in that permanent collection, now's the time to DVR it.
that's right. Let's talk Krampus, shall we? A movie I feel like
We
talk
talk
about a lot.
Krampus all the time.
I feel like it's
We
come
reference
up
it,
a
yeah.
lot. So I'm happy we're finally here. It originally premiered in the theater with Dan, you and I, and Panda in
Yes,
attendance.
the three of us, years before Deck the Hallmark,
That's right.
going to old Hollywood
Some might
20.
say there's no Deck the Hallmark without Krampus.
I don't think anyone would say that.
Well, there's a road there, though. It went a little something like this. The movie kicks off with a Christmas shopping montage. Have you seen a Christmas shopping montage before?
Yeah, but not like this.
Maybe you've heard of it. It's nuts out there. There are shoppers going crazy. They're trampling over each other. They're grabbing the best deals, TVs, etc. And in the midst of all the chaos, we meet Tom, we meet Sarah. They are rushing to break up a brawl that has been unleashed by their son Max and another kid who dared say there's no Santa.
Yeah, who would do that in this movie?
Monster.
A monster. Back home, things are no less chaotic. Sarah is preparing for her nightmare to become true. Her family is arriving. Her sister, Linda, he likes guns. His name's Howard. And their kids that are just always loud, always complaining. And then the addition, without any notice, of Aunt Dorothy. It's a lot for her. and she's very like type A, very clean, and this family is the complete opposite of her. The family dinner does go off the rails as Max's cousins begin to tease him about his letter to Santa, which leads to a full-on family meltdown, a large argument, and Max crying as he tears up his wish list, which gets blown out the window. You don't want that. You don't want that.
No.
That causes a blizzard to come. Everyone knows if you rip up a letter and it goes out the window, the blizzard's coming. Knocks out power. A little bit of PTSD for us in that regard. A little too soon. Yeah. Everybody is now trapped inside the house. And weird things begin to happen. There's, creepy snowmen kind of appearing outside. There's a mysterious sack of presents. And Max's sister decides now is the time for me to go check on my guy there. And so she goes outside, out in the blizzard, and she is attacked by a demon! As the family begins to be worried about Beth, they go outside. They do a little search and rescue action. And they are then attacked by some mysterious creatures, and they are barely able to make it back into the house in one piece. They are now aware that something is afoot. There is something crazy going on. And things go from weird to worse. There's demonic gingerbread men. There are evil toys coming to life. There are twisted elves that are crashing the party. It's a mess. And in a chaotic battle, the family fights for their lives. And the once snarky Aunt Dorothy ends up getting swept away. And you hate to see it. And so now it's time for Max's grandma to come clean. She finally fills everybody in on what's happening. They've ticked off Krampus. You know Krampus. You celebrate Krampus Day, whatever it was.
Krampusnacht.
Every December 5th.
Last year it got out of hand.
It did get out of hand.
Krampus,
the anti-Santa who punishes those who lose their Christmas spirit. Dan was saying, he's coming for me. I say no, sir.
Yeah.
We heard about your tree.
I know. He's like, you can't do that.
Is that Arnold?
Yeah, it is. Rig, how was that, Arnold?
I would say 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Yeah, how do you
on the cards? Partly cloudy.
teach me
Chance of
something?
meatballs.
How would I say it?
Get to the. The key is to this one word. To the. Chopper. Yeah, you're getting there.
Thanks, Rig. Apparently, Grandma had an interaction with Krampus back in the day, and Krampus left her to bear witness to Krampus. She held it close to the vest, though, until this very moment. Cue an epic showdown for the record books. Krampus himself looking like a Santa who's really been through the ringer there. He's got horns. He's dramatic with his entrances.
Yeah.
And it just starts picking people off. Max begins to make things right by facing Krampus, begging for him to take him instead of his family. And for a moment, it looks like Krampus is taken by his apology and his plea. But no. The demons, the crew, they start busting out there laughing, and they toss Max into a pit of doom. Suddenly, Max wakes up. It's Christmas morning. It was all a dream.
Yeah, it was.
It was all
Thank
a terrible
goodness.
dream. His family's downstairs. They're opening presents. But when Max opens one gift and finds a bell, their smiles face, and they all begin to remember the evening that they just had, and the camera zooms out and we see that they are now living in a snow globe on Krampus's shelf forever. And then they scare us again. And that, my friends, was Krampus.
We did it.
We did it, everybody. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll break this movie down here on Deck the Hallmark. Welcome back, everybody, to Deck the Hallmark. It's Monday. It's Christmas movie week. It's approaching, and we're talking Krampus, which is a nice little, we are aware that Halloween is approaching. It's a nice little Christmas spooky. Let's talk about it. Back in 2015, it came out. What are our thoughts then? What are our thoughts now? I'll start with you, Alonso. What's your hot take on this one?
Yeah, so I saw this in the theater when it came out, and I enjoyed it. And I only like it more as time passes. I think it's really effective and funny and creepy, and it's a good if you're one of those people who wants to start your Christmas movies but still feels the need to keep it spooky for Halloween. I think this is a good bridge movie. There's certainly a handful of those. Yeah, I think it works. I think it's effective. It's directed by Michael Dougherty, who did Trick or Treat, which is a really fun, very Halloween-centric Halloween movie. Really kind of captures the whole sort of autumnness of it. I think that if next year if the Hallmark fall movies are they skip a week, we could do that one. But yeah, I'm a fan.
I am also a fan of this movie. It has become a staple in my house in October.
Showed it to Gavin at 2 years old, right?
I did. I said, sit down, watch it, learn a lesson, son.
Yeah. Step right.
My wife and I watch it, and I think one of the reasons why I like this movie is they could have made this movie significantly scarier if they wanted to. And some might say that is the detriment of this movie. Okay. I say it's part of what makes this movie work. And the fact that my wife, who wouldn't go near a scary movie, can watch this movie and have fun around Halloween. There's not a lot of the scary movies that come out around Halloween or that you would watch at Halloween that my wife would be like, I'm in for that. But this works because all of the Krampus demon crew is very silly. The toys, they're silly. The gingerbread, they're silly. And Krampus, by the time you finally get to Krampus, it's okay, all right, I'm cool, I'm good. And so I think that's part of what makes this movie work for me is just the fact that they could have if they wanted to. And there are other Krampus movies out there that go significantly harder with the horror. And this movie, I think, is a pretty safe all play. If you're trying to put on a movie that is safe for Halloween, but also you don't want the people around you that don't like the scary movies, this movie will work. It's fun. It's a great time. It's well written. Lots of funny moments. And it just works for me. It works. And the Christmas works too. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. Make sure you pick the right Krampus because it turns out Krampus is in public domain.
That's
so
right.
there's a lot of them floating around.
It can get away from you.
A lot of Krampi.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. Dano?
Yeah, this is a good time. This is a fun time at the movies. You're going to enjoy yourself. It's silly. It's stupid. It's funny. And what elevates it is the cast. Allison Tolman, Toni Collette, Conchata Ferrell, Adam Scott, David Koechner. I would take a remake of Christmas Vacation with this cast. It would be an improvement on almost every cast member that had the original.
Wow.
Almost everyone. Hot take. This is what this segment is, right? Almost every cast member would be an improvement. I'm not telling you which is which, but I'm going to tell you almost every cast member would watch that movie in a heartbeat. I definitely wish this movie was rated R. I don't think it necessarily needs to be scarier. I think it needs to be gorier. I think part of the fun of the comedy of this movie is when David Koechner starts saying stuff, his death should equal what he's saying. I think that's part of the fun is they make these people kind of terrible, most of them, some of them not. And I want to see a bigger payoff, and I would have loved to see it be rated R. But your point is well taken, and I think that's as good a sell on a PG-13 version of this as possible, which is, it brings into the fold some folks who might not be down with horror movies. But as it stands, the cast elevates this material that is silly, but they take it dead serious, and that makes it a fun time. I mean, you can't watch this movie and not have an absolute blast. I think it is
But
worth seeing.
I like the gore. Sure, maybe more blood, but I think that pulling somebody in the snow out of the shot or pulling someone like that, I think is really compelling. And
I don't
works
think
really
it
well.
needs to be like Conjuring level blood or jump scares. I'm just saying that the kill, like half of a horror movie is the kills for a movie like this. And I could have done with some more, like most of the people that they dispose of end up coming
whisked
back.
away.
Yeah. And they're either come back and they're not killed. And that's the one downer for me is like,
But they're not dying. They're being pulled into a deep dark hole.
Yeah, yeah. What did we talk about with Brennan Elliott when he was in Chucky? He's like, my kill is one of the most famous kill. Like the best horror movies of this ilk have some iconic kills in them, and this movie lacks that because it's PG-13. But I'm not mad at it. I enjoyed myself quite a bit.
It's time for all the feels where we talk about what in this movie gave us feels. Alonso.
I heart Omi. Like I love that character.
Yeah.
I think she's great.
Yeah.
She is also my one wait what, but
Yep,
I
me
think
too. One of mine. Yeah.
but no, I think she is awesome. To piggyback on what Dan was just saying, the character actor bonanza here is top shelf. I mean, I was excited to see this movie just based on who was in it, let alone the Christmas of it all. R.I.P. Conchata Ferrell, you were one of the greats. But like, yeah, Adam Scott, Toni Collette, a huge fan of Alison Tolman from Fargo. Yeah. So like, love all of that. The kid, MJ Anthony, is really good.
He's great.
He's the kid from Chef.
Yeah, he is. You're right.
Yes,
Chef
Chef.
is a great movie. Love that movie.
So, the whole thing of I hear what you're saying about the kills, but I'd say the suspense in this movie is still pretty great.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Beth under the car.
Yeah, that's a good
with
scene.
like the feet and the jack in the box and all that stuff is like very tense and scary in a fun way. Despite the sort of culture clash that's going on between the two families, the sort of red state, blue state of it all. Like I love the moments where Toni Collette and Alison Tolman really get to like have sisterly moments. Like these characters are never made into such broad caricatures that they can't exist as human beings. And like even Adam Scott and David Koechner have these moments where they kind of get each other as dads, and it's funny how we're like, and I think when you look at the outtakes, I think they were going to make maybe more of this at one point and they didn't, but clearly like Adam Scott is like, what guns? Ugh, no, terrible. And then as soon as like the monster show up, it's like, where are the guns? Give me the guns, So that's funny. So yeah, I like that. Those were my feels.
The open, like I knew I was going to be into this movie immediately. The opening sequence is great, and it showcases the chaos that this movie is going to be. Go ahead.
Question about the opening sequence. This might be a Mandela effect thing because in the trailer they use Andy Williams as It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. And in the movie they use Bing Crosby. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I could swear that when I saw this movie in theaters, it opened with The Most Wonderful Time of the Year.
I thought it did too.
And Dave even found a review that said so. So why does the home video version have Crosby? I can't imagine that's any cheaper than Andy Williams.
There's no way it's cheaper than Andy Williams.
I don't know. Either way, it works.
Yeah,
for me.
Sure.
Yeah. It's really like just kind of coming in the slow motion and the chaos, and then coming in and not expecting to see a fight taking place with the kid. Like all of it just really works, and I think it sets the table really well.
There's some silly parts in this movie, some funny, some scary, but make no mistake, everything David Koechner says is a stitch in this movie. He has so many lines that only could be said by David Koechner. Like even like I don't even want to, but like when they're like, can your SUV still drive? He calls his SUV Lucinda, and can it still drive in the snow? He's like, Lucinda, if I point her due east, she'll be on the beaches of Normandy by sunrise. Like, come on, man. Like that is the best. Like David Koechner being this like truck owning, like gun loving, he's perfect in this movie. And I found myself laughing at just reactions from David Koechner. Wonderful, wonderful job by him in this movie. So there you go.
Let's take one more quick break. We'll come back. We'll get to the way what, the Hallmark here on Deck the Hallmark. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking Krampus today. Happy Halloween. Happy Christmas. Let's get to the wait what, where we talk about what this movie made us go wait what. Alonso.
So the first one I had written down was like, where do these weird vintage toys come from? And then I realized, oh wait, there was the big sack.
Yeah.
So that was answered for me, and it took me a second to put that together. Again, this is one of those you have to go with the premise that Krampus is real and the da da da. So my big wait, what is maybe Omi might have brought this up before in the past as like a warning,
or even right away even.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. It takes her quite a while to finally be like, oh, by the way.
Yeah. The fact that
got a story for you.
Omi decides to wax poetic about her time with Krampus for the first time after people have been maimed is unacceptable.
Beth is dead.
Yeah.
Beth is dead, Grandma.
Yeah.
You could have stopped it.
But the best part about that is that she finishes it and David Koechner immediately doesn't believe her. So it's like he immediately says, Jesus H Almighty, which is one of my favorite line readings of all time. And he says, next thing you know, at Easter, she's going to be talking about her rabid bunnies. And it's like, well, she didn't say anything, but also nobody believes her. They think she's crazy, which is also stupid because it's like, look at everything that's happened.
Yeah, you got a better explanation for this?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Sheesh.
That's kind of all I got. Otherwise, it's pretty, it's consistent with itself.
Yes, correct.
I haven't been at a department store or a Walmart or a Target or whatever on Christmas Eve in a very long time. But maybe do the Christmas show pageant somewhere else other than the back of a store with a curtain separating the store for one. These kids are going to have to be projecting very loudly. There's people running all around, getting in quite the tussles over TVs and whatnot. Some of that's going to leak into the play. It's just it's
an Ohio thing. You wouldn't get it.
Midwesterners do it differently. Can we talk about this 2015 and a different time, obviously, but is it really that different of a time to where a grown Santa Claus checking out a teenager's butt is played for laughs?
Yeah.
Guy, come on. And then also mom not call somebody, because he's been caught on camera checking out a minor. Call somebody.
I don't think she noticed it until that moment, or she probably would have had it framed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But just once you see it, when you're putting it on the wall, I'd be like, I gotta call somebody. This guy's not the best person in the world. That's all I got. Dano.
So I only have two more, and my first one is for a movie called Krampus. We get decidedly little of him, and not in a Jaws way where he's always, that would be fine. But instead, we spend a lot of our movie with these trinkets, these little toys that are fun. But for a movie called Krampus, I would have liked to have seen more. You don't really get a lot of Krampus for the meat of this movie. And I think that's for a movie like this that doesn't have any artistic pedigree to be something that it's not. It knows exactly what it is. I feel like we should get more Krampus. And maybe that's just me. Maybe that belongs in the hot take. But my big one was Umi. So there you are. And then my other one is these mythical Christmas demons, that these toys come to life, this Jack in the Box that can swallow people whole. All of them can be killed by simple gunfire, which is really nice. You know what I mean? To have mythical toys that have come alive. Usually there's further complications with how do we get rid of them? Guns don't work. But as luck would have it, gunfire works just fine here.
Yeah, it's a good one. The homework though, what happens? Do they respawn back at the? What happens?
Good. I mean, we caught a break there though. You would think with all the gun talk from David Koechner, the guns are going to be useless. No, you need those guns.
You need them.
You could also eat the gingerbread men, as it turns out, especially if you're a dog.
That's right. There's no problems.
Yeah, that's all I got.
It's time for What the Hallmarkers, where we wonder what could have been, maybe happened, gives some clarity to any questions that we still have. Alonso, what are you still wondering about?
Two, and they're both relatively minor. But first of all, is the DHL guy okay? Because he's the one guy who's not in the family that we see like dying in the blizzard, and I just I want to make sure that he too got back to normal on Christmas morning. Also, so the end of the movie, my first thought was like they're like this, they're somehow sort of trapped in the snow globe, but from what I've read about it, the idea is that basically those snow globes is how Krampus keeps an eye on people, and like they're getting another chance, but he's watching, so be good for goodness sake.
I thought they were caught in there and they all died at the end of this movie.
Right, I thought that originally too, but as I've read like
is
different
that the Krampus
sources,
lore, or is it specific to this movie?
Aren't we all in a snow globe? Amen.
Feels like that sometimes.
I think it is. I think it's specific to this movie, but you're right. It is. It's a little vague as far as how that's presented. But my question though is, wouldn't Omi already be under surveillance since she's been spared once by Krampus?
That's why that doesn't make sense. Yeah.
And so does she now get a second break? Because I guess technically this one's not her fault because it's Max and not her who transgressed. I don't know.
That's enough to convince me that
I have some theological questions.
So
here.
the difference though between
Krampus works in mysterious ways.
Yes.
Between her experience and Max's experience is Krampus just leaves her and says, "Hey, tell everybody about what you see." Basically,
right? Max
gets thrown into a hole,
True.
So it's
but he gets the bell.
He does
get the bell.
I'm just trying here. I'm trying.
No. I think it's food for thought.
No, and obviously what the homework is what's going on there.
Yeah.
I think that Krampus has clearly done this before, and he was going to do it again.
I think for sure he's collecting snow globes.
Well, people are just living inside of it. What does life look like for them now? Are they able to go outside their house and just look at what happens if you try to leave the snow globe?
Right. Well, that's the thing. I think, like I said, the official story here is that they're not trapped in the snow globe, but the snow globe is an observational device.
Is that the official one?
I mean, look, that's what the Wikipedia says, and I think I've seen interviews with the director where he's talked about it in those terms.
Interesting.
So yeah, and I think that makes a little more sense. And there's an alternate ending on the Blu-ray where he opens the bell and nobody particularly reacts to it except for Omi, who kind of gives them a look like and then they move on, and you don't get the snow globe, you just go out the window, and that's the end.
I love that.
I think that might work a little bit better.
Yeah, because there's some mixed. Mine's also that, but I also think like the kid shouldn't be. If we do normal Christmas movie lore, he shouldn't be punished. You know what I mean? Like he's the only one that believed in Santa, and then he tried to get it back, and
that also raises the larger question of like, why isn't Krampus punishing everybody else in this movie who never believed, who stopped believing in Santa a long time ago?
Does Santa have dominion over Krampus? Does he have can he just?
Does he have to give him the A-OK?
If they would have just said
Santa gives us free will so that we may decide for ourselves.
In a mention of the word Santa, does Krampus flee? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is he that scared?
In some cultures they travel together.
Yeah.
Like good children get the presents, bad children get the switch and thrown into Krampus's sack.
Yeah.
So I think they're more colleagues than
there was
enemies.
one set of hoof prints there. It was when Krampus carried you.
My guess is that the fact that he ripped up his thing on Christmas Eve was one of the deciding factors. It wasn't like hey, I'm going to ask my mom in the summertime.
But he was the last vestige. He was it. Nobody else in there cared.
Yeah. Omi was not doing a good enough job, clearly, of like spreading the gospel of St. Nicholas if the rest of the family was like, yeah, whatever. By the way, this reminds me, have either of y'all ever watched the classic 1980 roller disco musical Xanadu?
Every day.
Listen, if I had a nickel for every Xanadu conversation that we had in this office.
It's a fun movie. I will defend it. It's silly, but it's fun.
How's
anyway,
it related here, though?
I'm getting there.
Here we go.
At the beginning of the movie, you have the lead character. The whole thing is that like he works for a record company doing like big billboards for things. He wants to be an artist, but he's blocked. He can't come up with anything. And at the beginning of the movie, you see him like tearing up a painting and throwing it out the window, and the pieces all travel and they bring the muses to life. And Olivia Newton-John is the muse who inspires him to create this roller disco palace, whatever. But when I saw the kid throw the pieces out the window and they all go somewhere, I was like, oh my God, it's the opening of Xanadu.
And
that's one of the gayest things I've ever said on this show.
I texted Brand immediately. I was like, dude, did you get the Xanadu reference at the beginning of this thing?
Xanadu, Xanadu don't.
Y'all would have fun with Xanadu.
Okay.
Look, you stop selling. Somebody threw a ripped up painting out a window and Olivia Newton-John comes to life. That's hysterical.
Yeah,
I'm not in. I mean, listen,
and it just gets nuttier from there.
Yeah.
So
did we do it?
I think we did.
I think we did it, and that means we finished the slate. That's it. Another year of Mondays in the books. Do we have that clip package ready to go? Or no?
I will remember you. And I will just say it's been so much fun doing everything from movies you missed last year to some classics we missed along the way. This was so much fun. Alonso, of course, this holiday season, you'll be joining us. Netflix has a larger slate than they did last year, which is great news for us. And they all look like they're going to be a lot of fun. So you're going to be joining us this holiday season, covering those movies, which is going to be so much fun. Anything else for the people, Alonso, before we leave?
Be kind to each other and, give out full-size candy bars.
I love that.
There you go.
I love that.
Until next time, we'll be the first to wish you a
Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.